Astra VXR tubular adjustable lower arms. So these are like a full-on track car modification. The whole idea behind these is to gain adjustability. One of the main benefits of having these adjustable rose joints is that you can add camber and caster and increase track. So they're all beneficial, but one of the best things about adding caster is it means you can decrease your static camber. So as you turn the wheel, that added caster actually brings the camber back in. So as you turn the wheel, you're bringing that camber back in, and it increases the turn in. So these do make a real dramatic difference. We're not adding a huge amount of caster, but it's still well within what the kind of stock car geometry can do. So kind of steering rack, and then kind of wheel arch, and different kind of wheel and tire sizes. Kind of tried to design them around what we know. The majority of people, most people aren't running like 10J wheels with huge tires on the front. So these are suitable for like 8.5J, 9J, depending on offset, and they will still allow you to go to the maximum camber and caster angle, which also increases your track on these arms without any kind of rubbing or anything. So they will kind of fit like a stock arm. There's no need to modify the subframe. You can use the standard ball joints. So yeah, that's kind of one of the biggest advantages, is less static camber. Static camber's good in that if you don't have additional caster, you want that camber for steering input, for steering feel and to help the car turn in. The disadvantages of static camber is that you've got less contact patch of tyre on the tarmac at any one time. So you've got less brake efficiency, and you've got increased tyre wear. And again, on a track car, though, that's not really what you want. It's very easy to add caster with these arms and actually, bring your kind of static camber back to maybe a degree or degree and a half, but actually increase it a lot using the caster. So that's a kind of pretty basic rundown of how they work from a geometry perspective. It's a bit like a limited slip diff in that until you've tried one, it's very hard to give an accurate representation of how it changes the car. So that's why, anybody that tries these, it's almost always positive feedback. Well, it is always positive feedback, because it's like when you add a limited slip diff. If you've never had one before and you add it, all of a sudden it's, wow, this is crazy different. I did not think that just adding this one component could totally change how the car drives. That is how much geometry changes can actually make a difference. One of the biggest reasons that they are kind of track car only, they will fit a road car obviously, and you can use them on the road, but one of the biggest disadvantages with rose joints is that they require quite a lot of maintenance. The standard arms will have a rubber bush which sits in there, and it's quite happy to do 100,000 miles before they really start to kind of get pretty worn. It'll do its job. It'll allow the suspension to move in and out. It's supple, so it takes up all that vibration. The rose joints don't. They're going to transfer all of that vibration through that arm into the subframe, and the rose joint is where it all kind of comes together. So we do supply rubber boots to go with them. Now, some people go for filling these with grease, some people leave them dry. There's loads of different schools of thought. Some people don't use these at all. So there are quite a lot of different things you can do. The rose joints, they just don't last forever. And on a road car, which you see in road salt, debris, a lot more mileage than you would see on a track car, they will wear out fast. So you can use them on a road car, but you're probably not going to feel the benefits of them on a road car. A lot of people, kind of build a fast road car. but the difference between driving fast on the road and driving fast on a track is you're never going to get anywhere near the kinds of corner speeds and level of steering input required on the road as you are on the track. So that's where these really become beneficial on a track car. So we do have customers that use them on cars they use regularly on track and on the road, to drive to and from tracks, and that's okay. But like I say, it's just bearing in mind that these do need maintenance, so they do need to be cleaned. If you want them to last longer, you need to make sure these are nice and clean. So as these kind of balls in the rose joint rotate, they will pick up debris and they'll transfer it to the inside, and then it will end up wearing. Luckily, they're not massively expensive. We could have chosen to use really expensive ones, but from a kind of cost-effective standpoint, these ones are more than suitable for what most people need. So yeah, if you do need replacements when they wear out, they're not massively expensive. We supply them kind of fixed in the OE position. So as you get them out of the packaging, they will be fixed as an OE arm is, so they'll fit just like standard. Obviously, you'll always need to have your geometry checked after fitting any kind of suspension upgrades, but these will fit like a replacement arm. When you want to add your caster and your camber, you just wind these out. These threads will be greased, and again, this is another thing that you want to kind of keep on top of, the maintenance of these kinds of things. These threads can wind right out. General rule of thumb is you wouldn't want to go any less than 3 threads of engagement. So you want kind of from when that bites in, you would want, so that's kind of in there, you would want, so it's half 1, half 2, half 3. You'd want at least 3 full threads of engagement. The more the better, but 3 is, from a kind of engineering standpoint, acceptable on this kind of load. So we include all the spacers. So these obviously fit between the rose joint and the subframe. And again, you can kind of set these up so that you'll have 2 smaller ones and 1 large one. Now, as a kind of standard road car, we'd kind of set them up like that. And then as you want to increase the caster, you can actually switch them around or put them all on one side, and then that moves the lower arm much further forward. So again, we're not gaining a huge amount of caster, but it is enough to make quite a big difference. It's not as much as you could gain by chopping the mounts off the subframe and moving the subframe, but there's a lot more effort involved in that. If you damage your subframe, you need to do it all over again, and you can't ever really be sure of the accuracy of kind of doing that. So bolt-on mods are always a lot easier. So ERW tube with a 3.5mm wall. So we haven't used CDS tube on these. That is, intentional. You make them too stiff, you hit a curb or something like that, you're more likely to just destroy the ball joint, destroy the subframe or anything like that. I'd much rather damage the arm itself than the subframe, which is a much bigger job to replace, although they're available for kind of less money. Using CDS tube on these probably would have been overkill, really. So we've got a laser cut plate in here, which again takes the standard ball joint, so that's easy to bolt on, and again replacements are easily available. And then it's fully TIG welded, so yeah, these are plenty strong enough and well up to kind of motorsport spec. Gloss black powder coat as standard, so they should hopefully remain looking pretty good for quite a few years.